Hi guys, and we're back to making stuff in the garage. So today I'm going to be making a cedar backrest. I'm actually going to be making two of them because I recently got a sauna, and in looking at the backrests online, Jesus! And when I went to Home Depot to get cedar, I now realize why saunas cost so much, because cedar is expensive. The backrests online retailed, the cheapest one I found was basically $50 on Etsy for one. And the more expensive ones are usually around $100. And the materials that I used for this project are $50, and I'll definitely have some left over, as well as the fact that I'm making two, not one. So we're gonna be showing you, as if we're a crew, it's just me. I'm going to be showing you the drawing of what I'm potentially going to be making, and also the materials that I'm using. So essentially this is the drawing of the simple thing I'm making, which is a backrest. 18 by 5.5, and there should be about a 3/4 inch gap between the boards. So these are my materials. I've bought these deck screws, and here's my cedar, 1/2 inch as well as 3/4. Beautiful wood. So the first step's pretty easy. I'm going to be cutting 3 pieces of this thinner decking board, and that's going to be what we're going to be laying the back on. It's going to be 18 inches. I'm going to have, like I said, I'm going to have 3/4 inches between as spacers. The harder part is going to be then cutting this to 18, but I have to cut it on an angle, which I have yet to determine. It's the birdhouse all over again. And it's pretty simple, corner to about a bit further, because I want the end to be square and not pointy for comfort purposes. I love how the lawnmower is in the background. That being said, I only have a saw that can cut 12 inches. So I'm definitely going to have to cut one length of it and then turn the board and cut the other way, which is not optimal, but that's what happens when you don't have a table saw. We're taking our measurement at 18, and then we're going to be cutting these, and I've already made a couple cuts and it smells so good. So here are my 6 pieces that are going to make up 2 of the headrest. And I think, you know, when you're working with wood, you're always choosing the side which is nicer. Oh, excuse me. Oh, I guess I should restart the video, but I'm not. You're picking which side is nicest, and even though these sides are nicer, I'm also going to be sanding them down, because this is going to be right up against the skin. As you can see, there's also a bit of fraying on the edges, so I'm going to just give that a quick sanding. And once it's together, I'm going to sand it over again to make sure it's really well sanded. Here is my piece of thicker cedar. It's so beautiful. Do you see that red color in there? It smells delicious. I wish you guys could get the same thing as I am getting here in the real world. So yeah, I'm going to cut this to just past 18, so probably about 18.5, so that when I'm cutting it on an angle, I'm going to then be cutting off the little peak, which I'll show you after. I have to show you this because without the laser, it would be quite difficult to figure out this angle. But with the laser, hopefully we'll be able to optimize the wood and get 2 pieces that are going to work as the braces for the backrest. So I made my initial cut, but as I said, the saw is not long enough. And so now we're going to be turning our piece over. Oh my Lord, turning our piece over, and we're going to line it up as perfectly as we can to make the remainder of the cut. I'm very pleased. They're perfect. Exactly the same. And so I'm going to then trim the edge off just to not have the super pointy edge, and that's going to be the basis of our backrest. So with the 3/4 inch spacer, it's going to look like that. So obviously I just used a piece of 3/4 inch wood to create the space and make sure it's even on both sides. And looking at it now, I'm just double checking to make sure that it's the right width that I want, because I could always shorten the pieces of wood if the width is a little bit big. And these are the parts where I'm going to make a mark so I can cut the edging piece off there. The new plan is I don't want to drill holes. I could easily drill holes through each board and inset the screw so that it wouldn't affect the person when the heat of the sauna heats up the screw. But what I thought would be better is to create a brace about 1.25 inches thick and 3/4, so 1.25 inches wide and 3/4 thick, that I can attach to my braces on the inside. And that way I can drill from the underneath of the wood panels, and so the screws wouldn't show at all. So let's see if that'll work. Okay, this is going to be kind of difficult to show, but this is the brace that's going to run along the inside, so that I can screw from underneath into the piece of decking that's going to go on the side here. It looks awful from this side, but from this side it's going to look seamless. You can always check your screws by lining the piece of wood up, and then you can see how much of the screw is going to go in. So I have two different sizes, you know, the shorter ones for the decking board, which is just going to go into it from underneath, securing it in place, and then the longer ones that are going to run sideways like this into the piece. So I'm going to pre-drill along here, but I wanted to show you on the end here, I'm going to be drawing a line to get the correct angle so that it's flush at the end. And I'm also going to be doing the same here to cut off the edge so that I have a perfect piece that you don't see from the outside. So now we have our brace beautifully cut so that it's perfectly aligned. And now we're going to be gluing this down and drilling 3 screws. And then we will be, you know, getting ready for the next step. But first we need to spend a lot of time sanding. I really want these to be as smooth as possible because I'm not planning on finishing them because they are going in the sauna. So I just want them to be as smooth to the touch as possible. Always wear a mask when sanding or in any other public building. COVID safety. Okay, so when sanding, I love this mouse sander, but you're going to want to use 2 grits of sandpaper. I'm going to start with 120 because it's actually not that coarse, like it's pretty smooth already. And then to finish it off, I'm going to use a 220 to really bring it down to a smoothness, especially the edges that were cut. That really needs to be done. I just want to note the difference between a plank that's been sanded and one that hasn't, and you know, it makes a big difference to the touch as well as to the look of it. Brings out the grain. It's beautiful. Here, as you can see, I'm marking where I'm going to be pre-drilling the holes that are going to be attaching the braces to the boards. And then I have, going this way, holes that are going to be going through to attach the brace to the side panels. Just make sure you're using a drill bit that's equivalent or smaller to the inner part of the screw so that it doesn't render the screw useless. So now I'm putting these sides together. This is our brace. Maybe it helps to make more sense now. Okay, so we're lining it up like this against the edge of the table. I'm just gonna add a bit of glue And I do mean a bit because I don't want it splurting out the sides, but it will help reinforce the structure. Okay. So I'm putting, actually I want to double check what I'm using for the outside of this one. Oh my Lord. I'll just cut that whole part out. I'm lining it up as perfect as I can. Perfect. Okay. Now, I'm using 2 drills, but I only have 1 battery. I'm going to re-drill the holes so it goes through to the other panel. This is going to help to prevent the wood from splitting. And now I'm using 2-inch screws to go through both pieces. This drill is really loud. Perfect. Now we'll be drilling through these small holes here up into the decking piece. Okay, so it's actually been a long while since I worked on the backrests for the sauna because the sauna didn't arrive on time, but the sauna is now here. And in addition to the backrest, I also built a step. Yep, a step. A step leading up to the sauna. Now, as far as the backrests go, due to the benches being smaller than I thought, I am going to reduce the size to 14.5 inches, which means I'm going to be resanding, the edges here and making it as soft as possible before I screw them in to the back. And I'll be doing that now. So I've already cut them all to 14.5, and as I'm doing 2, I am going to be sanding for quite a bit. So now I have it all lined up upside down with my spacers. And I'm gonna put a little bead of glue underneath here before I drill these in with this screw to make sure it doesn't go all the way through to the other side. Well, I'm very satisfied with the end result, and I'm also building a little carpet for the inside floor of the sauna, which I'll also show you. Even though I didn't show you the whole process, it's essentially the same thing with screws being drilled from underneath so that it doesn't catch on anyone's feet or anything when they're walking on it. Bye!